The power is back on in New York City. Thank God that they got the power back up, and a big thank you to all those people in New York that worked so hard to establish power back into New York City. I read a bunch of comments on the internet yesterday on different forums and different websites, and I was kind of almost shocked at how people think. Many people said this was no big deal, even though it was the anniversary from 1977 of the biggest power outage in New York. So the 42-year anniversary, July 13th, the power goes out again. And I just thought that that was quite strange, yet most people didn't think that was strange at all. Most people just said it was only 50,000 people. Only 50,000 people didn't have power, so it's no big deal. In fact, look how these people are all coming together and helping one another. Here's the deal. If the power was out in New York City, let's say for 48 hours, 48 hours, not a long time, do you think people would be coming together? I'm going to tell you what would happen. People would not be coming together. You would see all-out violence taking place in New York City. You would see the gangs coming out. You would see the criminals coming out. You'd see vandalism. You'd see robberies, assaults, burglaries, you name it. That's the reality. Yet people will sit there and make excuses and justify it and turn it into something else. It was no big deal. It was only 50,000 people. No big deal. It's Sunday, July 14th, 2019. Making a video today. I want to touch base on some things happening in the economy, and I also want to go back and touch base on what happened in New York City yesterday. As I said earlier, I was reading articles, online forums, comments, websites, people in these survival forums who were just basically saying this is no big deal because it was only 50,000 people. Yet this is it was the July 13th anniversary to the biggest blackout in New York City, which that night they had a lot of violence, a lot of problems. This one was not nearly as bad. But again, these people in these survival sites or on these survival sites who should know better, don't think that there's something weird going on here when it's a 42-year anniversary happening right on the day of. No, they just say it's only 50,000 people, nothing to worry about. Well, let me ask you something. When do you start worrying? When it's 75,000 people without power in a major city, 100,000 people, 300,000, a million? When is it a big deal? When does it become a big deal? It probably becomes a big deal when you're one of the people in that city without power, when you're stuck in a subway, when you're stuck in an elevator, when the sun goes down and you know your credit card's not working. Maybe then it becomes a big deal to you. But for the most part, most of these people on a lot of these forums and websites in survival, who should know better, can't even see the clues. They can't even see the warning signs here. And so I just find that really disappointing that so many people talk this big game. They know so much. They're so informed. They're so aware. They're so awake. Yet we just have the largest city in America power down, and people just make excuses. Now, I don't know, maybe they're making excuses because they're actually getting worried. Maybe they're scared. I don't know. But people in survival forums, and I'm sure most people in survival forums aren't like this, but I saw so many people that were making excuses and just justifying this as no big deal because it wasn't enough people. Shocking. I want to talk about some of the latest economic data coming in, and this data is not positive. This news, this data is very negative. So for the people out there living in your little bubbles, people out there who can't deal with the truth, people who can't accept the truth, people who want to keep their heads in the sand, people who want to continue living their lives in denial, people who basically think that if it's not affecting me right now, it doesn't matter, so I don't need to hear about anything negative. It is what it is. To those people out there, I guess this doesn't really concern you, but to people out there dealing with reality in the real world, here's the news. So far, 7,062 store closures have been announced by U.S. retailers this year, according to Coresight Research. The number could tally 12 100,000 by the end of 2019. That's on CNBC. Here's some more news. Here's some more reality for everybody out there. And for people who can't accept reality, I feel sorry for you, because you're not going to escape what is coming to America. It has begun. This economic downturn is getting worse every day. If you don't prepare for it, it's going to take you down too. Jewelry and accessory retailer Charming Charlie filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy on Thursday with plans to close all 261 stores in 38 states. You know, if there's one sector of retail that's really getting hammered, it's jewelry. You look at Samuel's Jewelers and a list of other large corporate jewelry chains closing hundreds of stores. I see out here some of the small mom and pop jewelry stores closing up or have closed a year ago. Article on Reuters. The U.S. luxury store Barney's, which has been around nearly 100 years, it's struggling. They're considering filing Chapter 11. This is not Amazon or e-commerce, okay? People buying $300 ties and $3,000 suits typically aren't ordering this online. And so what we're seeing is just another area of the retail sector struggling. The high-end sector like Barney's of New York in big trouble. I think they also have a store in Beverly Hills. I think they have some outlets throughout the country. But I mean, we're starting to see luxury real estate just falling off of a cliff, and now the luxury retail sector falling off of a cliff. Retail, the luxury retail jewelry sector getting hurt too. So the news is not good. Here's another article on Bloomberg. A UBS survey, households reporting credit problems matched a survey high of 40%. So 40% of households in America now are admitting to credit problems. Consumers' likelihood of missing a loan payment in the next year was 13%. And remember, these are very conservative numbers. Household debt right now is approaching $14 trillion. $2.6 trillion of that debt is subprime. We talk about luxury real estate, 800 acres. This is on Zero Hedge, 800 acres of Swannanoa, Virginia, once slated for a Tiger Woods designed golf course and luxury housing, sold for $15.3 million. It was listed in 2016 for $24 million. Luxury real estate is really getting hit, especially out here in Los Angeles, Beverly Hills area. Starting to get very, very worried with how they're going to start moving these huge properties with big loans. And these contractors, developers, builders are starting to sweat out in Los Angeles. Article on Zero Hedge. Bloomberg says billionaires should buy the dip regarding luxury real estate. These people are now buying luxury real estate. The multimillionaires and billionaires, these markets are slowing down because they understand these are falling knives. And now they know that deals are going to be had down the road here. These are falling knives. They're going to wait it out. And we're seeing less foreign money coming into the United States buying real estate. And more people aware that this economy, the global economy, is slowing down. So these are nothing more than falling knives. A 40, 50, 80, $100 million house, people are going to wait it out because they know that there are huge discounts coming to the real estate market. And also the median real estate market is coming down. Prices are coming down. Sales are slowing. The economy is slowing. In this so-called booming economy, low interest rates, wage growth, low unemployment, yet why are we not seeing record-breaking real estate sales right now? Article on Zero Hedge. Housing bubble meltdown. Buyers are now 4 times less likely to face a bidding war than they were 12 months ago. In this environment, with decade-low interest rates, imagine what's going to happen when the rates tick up just a couple basis points. This is how fragile this economy is. The stock market cannot even handle a couple basis points, let alone the real estate market. We're in big trouble. Big things coming. This article also goes on, January 2012 to April 2019, wages were up 19%, rent was up 23%, home prices were up 55%. The housing bubble is on the road to a major collapse. There is a major correction coming here in the United States of America. This math doesn't work out. You cannot have a wage increase of 19% while home prices go up 55%. In many areas, home prices blew past 55%. So the math doesn't work out, and sooner or later, reality is going to come in and correct all of this. And we're going to see what the real asset prices are in the stock market and the real estate market. So while all this is going on, while we continue to accumulate more debt, while the average Joe falls deeper into debt, while the country falls deeper into debt, farther and farther into this bankruptcy, while people are sleeping on sidewalks, while we have vets sleeping on sidewalks, while we just continue to get more economic bad news. And please comment down below. Let me know what the good news is. Now, if you live in a small town with 10,000 people and your car lot sold 5 cars last week, that's great. That's good for you. If you live in a small town and the real estate market is doing well, good for you. Listen, there's always exceptions to the rules, but we are talking about national numbers here, not the numbers in Mayberry. All right, national numbers, not Mayberry. As a country, all these sectors are falling off of a cliff. I mean, the trucking numbers are heart-wrenching. We're going through a retail apocalypse. 7 million people severely defaulting on auto payments. We're seeing more pre-foreclosures on housing. I'm witnessing a commercial real estate market out here in Riverside County that is going down the toilet. So you may live in Mayberry and you're doing well, and God bless you. That's great. Make sure that you thank God that you're doing great right now, and make sure you're putting money away, because you may not be doing great tomorrow. But you're blessed right now. Anybody out there, if you're doing well, if you're working a job and getting paid well and doing well, if you're in a market that's doing well, you need to get on your hands and knees and thank God, because you're doing well in a very horrible economy. But remember, that can end tomorrow. These things can stop really quickly, even in smaller markets. But while we continue to receive all this bad news, Breitbart article, U.S. government has committed this week to provide public and private funds in the amount of $500 million to promote jobs in Mexico. So we're doing this in order to slow the invasion down. So we have to promote and give $500 million to Mexico to promote jobs down there, so that people don't come over here. I mean, this is unbelievable. Let me repeat, while we have vets and U.S. American citizens sleeping on sidewalks, we're going to give Mexico $500 million to promote jobs, which most of that money, as you probably know, will be wasted, stolen, used for other things, going to cartels, who knows what. But this is the country we're living in right now. This is the condition of this country. And it's appalling, it's sad, it's disgusting, and it's alarming. It's, you name it. I'm very, very concerned where we are heading, and we're heading there very, very quickly. While I talk to people who, basically just believe that, let God sort it out. We're all going to die, meet our maker one day. But unfortunately, I think that that's really poor thinking, because God gave every one of you and I a brain. He gave us free will. He gave us the ability to defend ourselves. He gave us a spirit to fight and to protect people who need to be protected. He gave us a spirit to fight and defend our country, our land. And he just gave us this spirit of independence. And yet people now are dependent. They're dependent on the government. They're dependent on the news. They're dependent on the financial institutions. People don't know how to be independent and stand up for what they believe in because they're afraid of being judged. We've lost this will of independence, this will of being proud of your country and flying that flag, and just being proud to be an American. And this spirit, this fight inside of us, this fire. The fire has been put out, and if people don't ignite that fire pretty soon, our country is going to be put out, and it's never coming back. Your kids are going to live in a much different country. They're going to be debt slaves. They're going to be servants to the elite. And if you're okay with that, if you just want to leave that in God's hands, that's great. I pray to God every day. And God doesn't just say, leave it in my hands. God says, what are you going to do about it? I gave you a brain. I gave you a body. I gave you a spirit. Use it. Stand up for your country. Do the right thing. Stand against evil. We are dealing with spiritual entities, deep demonic spiritual entities now, with this deep state, these globalists who are demonic, okay? These are the puppet masters. And God has given us the ability to make a choice here. And we're either going to stand down or we're going to stand up and start getting involved with whatever we have to do to make sure that this country does not fall to globalists, demonic, evil globalists. We are at a fork in the road here, America. The question is now, what are we going to do about it? Are we just going to sit back and accept it and go for the ride? Or are people going to step up, get some backbone, have some fire in their belly, have some fire in that spirit, and say, no, America is not going that direction? I'm going to leave it right there. I hope everybody had a really, really good weekend. And I really, really hope that we need more people in this country to wake up and to see what's going on. We now have this whole Epstein thing going on. Look at the deviance in these black books. Look at what they were doing to little kids. This could have been your little 13 or 14-year-old daughter. These are demonic, evil human beings, and they must be stopped. And if we don't stand up to these deviants, America's over. God bless. Have a good day.